Hi, crafties, and welcome to Weekend Crafting Adventures. I'm Kim, and in this project, I am joining the clear bag trend and putting some vinyl onto some small zipper pouch clear acrylic bags. Let me tell you a little bit about the inspiration behind this project. We are right in the middle of spring sports, and summertime is just around the corner. So I have been watching this trend of customizing the small clear bags. Some people take them into stadiums, they take them into concerts. You can take them to the beach. Just very cool, all different sizes for all different purposes. But in this project, I thought what would be fun would be to personalize one for each of my boys, my teenagers, and then make one for myself. And for the boys, I am going to go with a baseball sports theme. We have Chicago in our blood, and my husband is a Sox fan. So our oldest son is a White Sox fan, and our youngest son is a Cubs fan. So I am going to do their zipper pouches with a Cubs and White Sox theme on the front of theirs. And then for mine, I'm actually going to be trying for the first time some UV color changing tech wrap vinyl. So that is super exciting. A few highlights for materials that I want to point out are like I just said, the tech wrap UV color changing vinyl. That is what I used for my pouch. And that was definitely something that I did not have in my crafting corner that I needed to purchase. And the other thing that is I want to highlight are the acrylic clear plastic little zipper pouch toiletry size bags that I'm going to be using for this project. I will have all of the other materials and all of the links for the materials listed on my blog post on my website at wcapodcast.com. So you can find all of that extra information over there. And then I did want to really shout out the one resource that helped to inspire me to do this project is Whiskey and Wit. She has a YouTube channel, she has a website, and this YouTube video that I watched is called You've Got to See the New Cricut Decor DIYs video. It is about 30 minutes long, but it is chock full of so many crafting ideas, so many projects, and so many little Cricut tips in her video. It actually is awesome. So in that video, she has so much information, but two of the projects that she highlights are clear bag projects. And so I got some inspiration from those projects to kind of help me jumpstart my own ideas for what I wanted to put on the clear bags that I'm making. So for the experience of this project, I am going to focus a lot on the designs and then also on the experience of actually putting the vinyl onto the clear plastic. The cutting of the vinyl was really straightforward and not hard at all. I'm using my fine point fine tip blade in my Cricut machine. And that process was really easy. The weeding was easy. So I just want to focus on the designs and then actually the experience of putting that vinyl onto the clear plastic. So for my boys, I used Oracal permanent vinyl for both of their pouches. And like I said before, getting some inspiration from Whitney from Whiskey and Wit, I went ahead and went with baseball inspired pouches. So for Michael's, I did a Cubs pouch and I used the phrase "Go Cubs Go." Whitney also has that on her projects that she did. She has a lot of other details on hers that you can see if you go to her Cricut Design Space links or the YouTube channel I was talking about, that link. But I definitely wanted to have the C and the Cubby Bear and Go Cubs Go with a baseball. So I did need to go to Google Images and find a Cubs logo to upload into my Cricut Design Space, because that is not one that obviously Cricut Design Space has in it. So that process was really simple. I found for both the Cubs and the White Sox logos that I used on my pouches, I found PNG file pictures, uploaded them into Cricut Design Space, and made them into SVG cut files. It's a really easy, simple process. It probably took me 1 to 2 minutes to do that once I found the exact designs that I wanted. And for the White Sox pouch for my son Matthew, I had the old school White Sox logo. So it is a baseball player that's kind of like this old school design that says Sox underneath it. And then on his pouch, I went with a saying called "You can put it on the board." And the reason I did that is that people are pretty familiar with the "Go Cubs Go" song and chant that happens at Cubs games. But at White Sox games, this player, Hawk Harrelson, used to say every time a ball was hit out of the park, when the White Sox hit a home run, "You can put it on the board." Yeah. And so I put that phrase onto Matthew's pouch after getting some help from my husband on where to look for some of the more well-known phrases that would be White Sox phrases. So those designs I loved, and I thought that they would be fun for the boys. It is baseball time of year, and they both love those teams. So those were the designs for the boys. For the pouch that I was making, for me, I decided to go with the UV color changing vinyl from Tech Wrap. And I just really thought it would be fun to have this UV color changing vinyl on a pouch. I wasn't really sure what I was going to be keeping in my pouch. And so the design that I chose for my pouch was just a simple word: stuff. You can put a lot of little stuff into this pouch, and I wasn't sure exactly what stuff I was going to be putting in there. So I wanted to keep it wide open and kind of fun. And that's what I decided for my design. And so mine was very simple, but the exciting thing that I really, really enjoyed was the process of the UV color changing vinyl, especially in Colorado. And this vinyl is awesome. So the minute I took it over to test it, I just put it by a window early in the morning, and it immediately started to change. And then later on in the day, when I brought it outside, it was literally probably, I would say 10 seconds to go from the whitish color to the the hot pink color that it changed into. So it's really fun. I highly recommend giving it a try. I have all good things to say about the UV color changing vinyl. And then I got into the process of putting this vinyl onto the clear plastic pouches. And this was a little bit challenging, only because I really wanted to try this style of writing on the pouches called a one-sided shadow look. And this again was inspired by Whitney from Whiskey and Wit. In her video, she shows how to use this technique. And I just really loved how the two colors gave it a pop of color and a little bit of a three-dimensional effect of the look, but it was different than the offset look where you have your word that is completely outlined, kind of like that bubble look. This is a style where only one side is kind of highlighted or shadowed, as she called it. So because I was trying this new technique that I've never done before, it did take me some time. She has amazing tips on how to line them up and what you can do in Cricut Design Space to make the process easier. And I did give that a try, but I will tell you, for me, what ended up happening is I put my first layer down of the word on all three of the pouches for the color that I wanted underneath. And that was pretty easy. I mean, once that vinyl hits the plastic, it pretty much is stuck to it. There isn't a lot of forgiveness in terms of being able to move that vinyl around. I know in some projects, you've got a little bit of wiggle room and time to kind of adjust your vinyl, like on tumblers and things, but because of the plastic and the vinyl, once it gets on there, it definitely sticks very well. Oh, and I did want to mention, I did use rubbing alcohol on these pouches before I put the vinyl on, just to make sure everything was clean. There wasn't any like extra coating or anything on them. So that was something that was super important in this project. Okay, so I'm layering the first layer of the words and I'm getting those down, making sure I'm trying to center them. The pouches are about 7.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And so you've got a pretty good amount of space that you're working with if you choose to use this size of pouch. So where I kind of ran into a little bit of a slowdown, which is just a learning curve, was getting that second layer of the vinyl onto those letters to create that one-sided shadow look. So I ended up just cutting my letters apart for the words instead of attaching the entire top layer on together. Whitney makes it look really easy in her video. I did not have that much, I couldn't do it as quickly as her, and it definitely doesn't look as easy, and it was not as easy as it looked. So for me, that took some time. And by the third pouch, by the time I was on my third pouch, it was going much faster. But taking that time to just figure out exactly where that second layer needed to be to create that shadow look, that was a little bit challenging. Still, I would say this is definitely, I would say beginner to beginner in an intermediate project because of the layering. But if you're just putting straight vinyl onto these pouches, this is absolutely a surefire beginner project. And the pouches are awesome. I love how they turned out. I love all the different things that you can do with them. I mean, GIFs these would be awesome for gifts. Teacher appreciation is coming up and summertime's coming up. So lots of different things that you could be putting on these. And I'm definitely thinking I'll be making more before the end of the school year. So let me tell you my crafting keepers for this project. The first crafting keeper is going to be the one-sided shadow style of lettering. I love it. I am so glad that I learned about it from Whitney, from Whiskey and Wit. It's such a different way to kind of get those colors to pop with the vinyl, that 3D effect. It just gives it a little more depth than just the flat vinyl lettering. So that is in my crafting corner. And the second crafting keeper for this project is definitely the UV color changing vinyl from Tech Wrap. This vinyl is amazing. I really wasn't sure how fast the color would change, but I had to have my son video me outside with it to show, because I would say going from the white base color to the real hot pink color that I used, that took 10 seconds. I mean, it changes color so fast. And then you bring it back inside, and the going back to the base color of white, that took a little longer, probably I would say between 20 seconds and a full minute to get all the way back to that base color before the UV sun hits it. I had fun layering it. I layered that UV color changing vinyl that turned hot pink on like a really nice turquoise permanent vinyl. So it looks really good, whether it's the base color of white on that turquoise or the hot pink out when it's exposed to the sun. So both ways it looks great, and it's really fun to see the color changing happen. So that is a crafting keeper for me. I cannot wait to put that on some other projects. My Satiscrafttion rating for this project, I'm giving it a 4.5. And the reason I'm giving it a 4.5 is it was really fun. It was a fast project. It only took, I would say, probably a couple hours, again, because of that layering that I was learning. But these pouches, like my boys are keeping snacks in them for their practices after school, one for track meets, one for baseball games. So that's really fun. We can pack them up with snacks and send them off and know that they're going to have those with them, and they're in their backpack and things aren't flying around all in the backpack. So that's pretty fun. And the clear see-through, I love this trend. I'm excited to try some other clear bags, because these are the things now that you can take into stadiums, you can take into ballparks, you can take into concerts. That way everybody can see that you are completely carrying, everything's safe in those bags they want to see as you're going through security. So the reason I didn't give it a 5 was that process of layering the 2 layers to create the shadow effect. It was a learning process. It took me a little bit longer than I would have liked it to. Again, I always feel like when I'm watching somebody do something, it looks so easy. And then when I try it doesn't feel that easy. So I always have to remember to give myself that learning time, and that even though it looks easy, it's always going to take a little bit longer than I think, just based on trying something new for the first time. So that's why it didn't get a 5. But I mean, this is a fun project. I really hope that you find a way to try out some of the UV color changing vinyl. This stuff is awesome. And I hope that you find some inspiration for creating some really cool clear bags and getting that Cricut off the shelf and getting crafty. Until our next adventure, take care.
That's all for this episode of Weekend Crafting Adventures. Now go get that Cricut machine off the shelf and get crafty. For more information on this crafting project, interesting tips, tricks, and techniques, visit WCApodcast.com. Until next time, when we embark on another adventure.